Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. You're at the spot, the place, where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Did you bring your thinking caps? It's time to put them on, because the conversation starts now. Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. How are you today? You are back at your favorite spot, the place, where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Today we're going down to South Carolina. Yes, we're going to visit with Nicole Harvick. We're going to talk to her about energy frequency and how to keep it high, how to heal ourselves, how to, really tap into that thing called forgiveness and sincerity upon forgiveness. My mother was never one to say I'm sorry, and it used to concern me. And she said, well, baby, people know their intention from the get-go. They know what they're trying to do. She says, and if someone committed a murder and they turn around and say, I'm sorry, she says, it just doesn't jive for me. You have to take responsibility. You have to take accountability for your actions. But the most important thing is that you need to have a prerequisite. Put some thought into what you're doing. What is your intention? Okay? They say it's better to beg for forgiveness than to ask for permission. So we're going to talk to Nicole about that and a whole lot more. Let's welcome her to the show. How you doing, Nicole?
I'm good. I'm so excited to be here and ready to answer any of your questions.
Oh, well, tell us a little bit about you and how you show up in the world.
After many, many years, I show up in the world as someone who looks through different glasses now. I
Mm.
went through a really traumatizing divorce. There was a lot of anger, there was a lot of sickness. And one of the things I discovered that I was leaving out of my life that was making me very, very angry and have a very jaded view about the world was lack of forgiveness. And
Mm.
when I discovered that, my whole life changed.
Mm-hmm. It's a big pill to swallow to forgive someone. I see people again that in the example of murder, and they look at the person and they say, I forgive you. And I never really believed that when it said forgiveness is not for the other person, but it is for yourself. It's hard to kind of put that in context, but it is true. It is true
It's
because
absolutely true.
you're releasing that. And I can imagine in a divorce, there's so many moving parts. You got the kids, you got the finance, you got your emotions, you got the other person, and then the other person may have another person. It's a lot. And it's a control thing too. How did you grab hold to forgiveness?
Well, when I found out my ex was cheating, I was broken. I really was broken for quite some time and had two girls watching me. And what I did for myself is I went out and learned many healing modalities. I learned how to teach forgiveness. I learned about sound healing. I learned all kinds of things, quantum energy healing. And what I was witnessing is instead of healing myself, I was going backwards, just always going backwards to a point where my hair started falling out and I started scratching my skin until it bled.
Mm.
It was just horrifying. And after some research, I realized the one thing that I hadn't utilized was forgiveness. And I started, there's something called Ho'oponopono, and it's an ancient Hawaiian forgiveness practice. And it consists of four phrases: I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you. And you're saying those to yourself. And I noticed after about a week of saying it every morning and every night, and I said it right after I woke up because it's called the in-between time. You're not really awake, but you're not asleep.
Right?
And then at night, same thing, not really asleep, not really awake. And it just started embedding in my subconscious. And I just noticed all of a sudden things just started kind of peeling away. And I'm like, wait a minute. I paid so much money to talk to psychiatrists, psychologists, the groups I went to.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing worked. How could this thing that's free work. But what I'm here to tell you, not only does it work, it works well.
Hmm. Well, the best things in life are free.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
but you had to be prepared for it. You had to be in a state of being receptive and receiving it because you wanted it so badly.
I did. I
Sometimes,
wanted it really badly because I was becoming very fearful that it was going to impact. I actually had tightness in my chest at times. And I thought, if you don't do something, you're going to die and you've got two girls to raise.
wow, wow. So when you rose up and you greeted forgiveness, and you go, wow, I'm starting to see these changes. My emotions are lessening. I don't feel as vulnerable. I don't question myself because when you're in a situation and somebody steps out, you always say, why? What was it wrong with me? What did I do? Was I not good enough? And a lot of times, brains, it's not about you. It's so about the other person. Were you able to extend that grace beyond just forgiving yourself and forgiving the other person as well?
And I did. I was able to do that because read a book called The Four Agreements, and it's by
Okay.
Don Miguel Ruiz.
Mm-hmm.
And the part that just like opened up, it was like a light bulb moment, was take nothing personally.
Right.
It's never about you. It's about the other, whatever the other person did, that's on them. I could have done everything right, which I admittedly didn't, but I I could have, and it would have still been the same outcome.
Yeah, because it's about communication. And when somebody is ready to move, they're ready to move. And that's all right. So now you have taken it to the next level. You are coaching that.
Absolutely. And the reason I started that is because I was so broken at the beginning. And I took it wasn't overnight. I'll tell you, it's not overnight, and you do have to work on yourself. And where that brought me to eventually was a place of self-love. And I
Mm-hmm.
have to tell you, I never knew that we were, it sounds so strange, but I never knew we were supposed to love ourselves or that we could. And then I started thinking about it. I told myself, well, you love your family, you even love your dogs, but I'd never thought about loving me. And so I started looking in the mirror and just noticing who I was and who I wanted to become. And I started thinking, if I can get over this immense break that I had and be end up on the other side with forgiveness and self-love, I can help someone else do that. And then it dawned on me after a while that this didn't happen to me, it happened for me. So I could help people step over that horrific hump of being cheated on, lied to, taken advantage of. And so I set my sights on doing anything I could to get to people and let them know that forgiveness is about you and for you.
Absolutely. I get that. I totally get that. But you took it a step further to the quantum. I'm loving the quantum. I'm so into it now. The quantum energy, the quantum physics, the frequency, the vibration. Brains, I'm telling you, Einstein knew what he was talking about. He did. I just get off on that. But you got to be careful with that too. I'm going to be honest with you because I listen to some very high frequency thought leaders. I'm not going to mention their names, but I'm sure you know who they are. Um, and I feel it really penetrating my subconscious mind. When you open that portal, you've got to be careful what goes back into it, that neuro linguistic programming, that conversation that you have with yourself, but also the information that's being poured into you by the facilitator. Because I'm going to tell you, brains, and again, I am a realist. This is how gurus get you. This is how spiritual leaders, this is how you get brainwashed. You also have to be able to resonate and clarify and connect for yourself. You go to churches, and I mean, I'll talk about the Baptist church. We hooping and hollering and screaming and shouting and bouncing and all this kind of stuff. And then you turn around, and 2 weeks later, it's in the news that your pastor has done something inappropriate with a child, or cheated, stepped out on his wife. But he talked about the doctrine. Read it for yourself. Know your own course of action. Wouldn't you agree, Nicole?
Oh, absolutely. And the thing is right now it's the buzzword. Now, I've always had a lot of abilities intuitive since I was a little kid, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm noticing right now we've got this new world that we've stepped into of quantum, of higher frequencies,
Mm-hmm.
of more intuition. And you're absolutely right about who are you going to lock arms with?
Right?
Because a lot of people just know the verbiage. They don't know
Right?
the depth
No.
or feel the inner calling. It's like all they see are dollar signs, and they will absolutely take advantage of you.
Or the trickery,
Oh, absolutely.
or the control. Sometimes it's not even about money, it's just about control, it's about influence. If we can point to one individual person, it's about how much can I do? How much can I get away with? So you have to watch that. You got to punch the brakes. Um, Quantum is energy. Every single thing is energy. It's all
Everything.
about frequency, it's all about the physics. So check your vibration, gauge it against someone else. You can feel it. People always say, oh, the energy in the room. Okay, then gauge it, you know, gauge it and really try to assess what feels good to you and what doesn't feel good to you. It's more than an intuition. It's more than an insight. It's more than this thing that we call the religious text and the doctrine. We're going beyond that. We're going to the actual creator. We're going to source. Okay. And when you're dealing in that realm, you've got to be mature enough to handle it. Right, Nicole?
Oh, goodness. It's amazing what we're up against right now. You know, it's absolutely crazy. And you talk about walking into a room and some things you can walk into and you can feel some good energy, but some things you walk into and it is just dark, it is heavy, and that I will turn to leave before I will stay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't go with this, well, you've got to do this to be polite anymore. If it's me or you, I'm picking me.
That's right. You don't just go along to get along.
Mm-mm,
It doesn't work
absolutely
anymore.
not.
So, how do you incorporate oracle cards in helping people with guidance? Oracle cards, in my opinion, correct me if I'm wrong, is a tool. Some people use pendulums, some people use hypnosis, there's palm reading. It is a guide, it is a template. But how do you incorporate that in your work?
And I use all of those. I do use a pendulum for my yes or no's, but with oracle cards, one thing I want to tell you about information is we live in past, present, and future at once. So everything's circling all around us. All of the information that ever is and will be is in the ethers. So it's there for us to grab. And this is just tapping in to what is. And I'll pull a card. I don't necessarily read the words of the card. I will read the card itself. If it's a tree, what color is that? What is that symbolic of? What's in the background? Are there stars? Is there danger? Is there darkness? So before I tell anyone anything, I read the card for them. But it's something that I have tapped into from a much higher source than me.
And so when you realize that you had this ability to interpret what these cards actually mean or how they can guide us, because let me tell you a little story. I love to tell stories. I'm at work one day and there's these three nice Hispanic girls that I work with. We working on a Saturday. It's only like about five of us in the call center that day. And they used to go across the border to Mexico to get a reading done. Oh, Abril, aquí. I'm like, I'm not going over there. I'm not going over there. I'm not dealing with that. The Christian and the Bible, I'm not dealing with that. Oh, come on, come on. So one day they brought a book in and they had the cards with them. They said, okay, if you won't go, we'll bring it to you. I was like, oh my God. They pulled the cards, they interpreted through the book. Now, these were tarot, they weren't oracle cards. Uh, Nicole, every cotton picking thing they said came true. Within 2 weeks, I was scared to death. I was like, there is, but you know what? It was. I didn't know if it was subconscious programming that they were like saying, okay, we're going to tell you these things, you're going to start thinking about them, and then they're going to manifest. But no, these were really tangible things that came to fruition. So there is power in the cards, and you
There
hear
is.
people say you've got to deal with the card that you're dealt. So you hear all these little quirky sayings, but they really have practical application. And so
Absolutely.
when you pull these cards for these individuals and you give them this information, what is a person supposed to do with that information?
Well, the first thing I tell someone is that I have to, it's like a code of honor, universal law. You have to tell them what you hear. So if I hear something I think that might disturb them, I will ask them. It's like, okay, here's one thing I'm hearing. It might not sit well with you. Do you want to hear it or do you want to skip to the next? And 99% of the time, they're going to want to hear it. That what that I tell them is if you hear this and it's something you don't like, we do have the power to change directions a lot of the times.
Mhm.
And so it for me, it's very, very powerful because if you hear something maybe nefarious is coming, you're like, okay, I can be on the lookout for that and stop that before it starts.
Mhm.
You know, most things people want to hear about is love, money. When am I going to find the right guy or gal? It's all the same, but you know, it can tell you something like the other day, I said, someone, you've got a scratchy throat. I think I saw like a cat with the claws out. I said, your throat is scratchy. And they're like, yeah, I have a very bad sore throat today. And so then, you know, what do I hear after that? You've got to take care of yourself, the vitamin C, you've got to gargle. So sometimes it's just information that we have knowledge of, but
Right.
sometimes we can reach out there and get a lot of interesting answers.
Okay. Now, can I ask you a question and be vulnerable? And this is not, I'm not being snarky, but how did this work for you in your own life when discovering or uncovering the indiscretion of your partner?
That was tough. That was very, very tough. And you know what's strange about it is in my heart,
Mm,
I already knew there had been things that had been happening for years. Everyone has intuition, but I truly think women have a stronger intuition because we're structured to pay attention. We have children we have to pay attention to. We have to make sure no cars are coming to hit them. We're just very alert and very aware. And I just knew in my heart something was going on. Still hits you like a freight train. But after I assimilated everything, and only when you look back can you see it more clearly. And that's when I understood that this was my path, learning this because I don't just hear someone's story when they tell me they've been cheated on. I feel it with them.
mhm.
I remember that feeling.
But that's where we get into now accepting responsibility and accountability because no matter what kind of gifts you have intuitively, you still want to shield yourself from that. You still want to say, this, I'm getting the wrong signal. This can't be true. This, you don't want to do it. You don't identify with it. And that's a lot of people's problems or challenges that I see with us today. I'll include myself in that because we just don't want to believe it. We don't want to. And reality is now not reality, but perception. I know we were in a meeting and we had all these little sticky cards, I mean, sticky notes, and we put them on the poster boards. And my question was, can we honestly tell the truth? Everybody chose my question. But then when we got to the nuts and bolts, it is, what is the truth? What is your interpretation of the truth? If I sit there and tell you all day long that that sweater you have on is yellow, baby, by the end of the day, you're going to see yellow. It is how people program you.
Right.
How do we shield ourselves? How do we, how do we become honest? They use this word authentic. Really, you know, really, what does that mean these days?
And I've been from the time as I look back, I've been different in different phases of my life.
Right?
And one of the things that I've learned to do, and this is very, very important now, is instead of using your brain, your mind, go straight into your heart. Your heart is your new true center. And we actually have two new chakras that have appeared as we've elevated: pink for love and golden for our crown, because we get information through our crown. And so we are changing. We're changing in density. We're changing. We've gone through a almost like a portal where if
Absolutely.
you are ascending, which we are, we're starting to notice just what we're talking about. We wouldn't have had this conversation 10 years ago, but we went from a dense carbon-based body into a crystalline body,
Mm,
very light body now. And that's when all these things are occurring. Now, not everybody gets to change.
right?
Some people are very mired in a third dimensional frequency, and that's okay. Now, that would be drinking every weekend, punching a time clock. That would be spending your whole weekend watching football. Not that that's bad. I've watched football, but as you change and morph,
Or just turn
your
or
identity changes.
this thing constantly,
Oh, constantly.
constantly. I am
Hmm.
watching, I listen to something motivational, inspirational, meditative, quantum before I go to bed to, again, relieve, inform, and grow my subconscious mind. And there's a couple things they always say: is consciousness, your frequency and vibration, but also just, being aware of where you are and what you're doing, and knowing that, again, you explained it beautifully, that we are going into a light age, that we are in a lunar vortex, we are in a portal. Brains, all this stuff that's happening, how many times have I told you this is by design, baby? This is not happenstance. You just happen to be here at the time that it's going down. I would have never thought that AI and the wars and the water and the food and the global warming, and I mean, down there where you are, I heard this about to be a heck of a storm that's
Yeah,
coming
ice
through.
storm.
All of this stuff is happening. I thought I would be 10 feet under waiting for the resurrection. I did. I didn't think I'd be here to see it. Artificial intelligence. I've got a girlfriend that is doing a course now for people on AI. I could not tell the difference.
It's
I
crazy,
could
isn't
not,
it?
and she said by the end of 2026 that you won't know fact from fiction. You really won't know. So what you have to do is you have to grab hold to those reins, and you got to hold them tight, and you've got to be clear, and you got to be kind, and you've got to be open, and you got to ask the questions. If it doesn't make sense and it doesn't feel right, it's probably not right. Go back to this thing called common sense.
Yes, and that's where your heart comes in. That if you're, and one of the things is women have intuition, and the American Indians never cut their hair for a reason, because it's part of their nervous system and it helped them track. They use their intuition. Most women do have long hair or some hair, and it stands up on your arm and it's telling you, don't do this. So use your intuition, use your intelligence, use what feels right. And if it doesn't feel right, go into your heart, ask the question.
Well, we're going to ask you some fun questions now. Perfect lead in. All right, let's flip the script. So, what's on your life list? What is there something that you have yet to do?
What gosh, I've been so blessed with so many things, but one of my desires is a safari in Africa.
Hmm.
I want to get back to where it all began. And that's kind of like the cradle of civilization. And I want to see things untouched, not molded, not in a zoo. Not, I want to see real life animals, people dancing. I want to see a way of life that is really untouched by us humans.
Well, Let me tell you, I had a plan to go, but things have changed when it comes to travel, so I don't want to get there and get stuck. Uh, I'll
Could
be,
be a
I,
blessing, but maybe not.
right, I'll be running with a herd of zebra.
That's right. Trotting.
Exactly. If you were an appliance in the kitchen, what appliance would you be and why?
If I were, I would probably be a microwave because that gets things done quicker.
Oh, you know what I'd be? I would be one of these high-end trash cans. Have you seen them?
No.
They compost for you, they sanitize themselves, they look really nice. But the reason why I would be it is because I want to be the place where you dispose of the things that no longer serve you.
Ooh, I
I
like
want to
that.
be the place where you recycle. I want to be the thing that you keep clean. I want to be the thing that you take out often and regularly. So I think I'd be a high end garbage can.
I think you'd be good at it.
Well, that's what I said too. I hope it's chrome. I like them shiny.
Oh,
If you knew that this was your last day on earth, what would you do?
I would desire to spend it with both my daughters.
Mm,
They're fun. We don't have that relationship that's I don't know. Sometimes I do a lot of traveling with them, so there are times when I have to be like full on mom, but there are a lot of times that we can just have fun and laugh like girlfriends.
that's what I said too. Family would be the most important thing. So, do you like vanilla, chocolate, or strawberry?
Chocolate,
Chocolate.
hands down, anytime, anywhere. Bring
Really?
it on.
I like strawberry. People aren't as prone to strawberry as they used to be. I absolutely love it. If you could time travel, go back to the past, project to the future, stay here in the present, where are you going to land?
I'm going to land with Tesla, not the car Tesla, but Tesla that discovered energy. The
Mm,
man was absolutely brilliant. He was stripped of everything and never given the credit for anything. And I would want to talk to him because he had a mind that was so far ahead in time. And I would do anything I could to go back and let him be given the credit for electricity and for phones and for everything that Bell got credit for.
right. I would probably stay here in the present. Um, the past is gone, the future's not promised. I want to see how we navigate through this. It's a
Mm,
minefield. It's a minefield. And I just want to see, I want to be the observer. Much like life, we are the observer of our life. There are those like you and I that are also seekers and handholders, and we want to take people with us. But as you said, everybody's not going to make it.
mm-mm.
They're not there. And do we have a choice? I don't know. We signed a soul contract when we got here. Maybe it's not up to us. But are we able to navigate through the minefield? Are we able to dodge the bullet? Are we able to be kind and take someone with us? What is the learnings that we achieve? Because if you don't make it through this portal, I'm sure there's going to be another one. And if,
Always.
you, and if you're left behind, how are you going to survive? So you need to have these skills. You need to have people like Nicole and On the Edge in your life to raise your awareness. That's the most important thing, is that you're conscious and that you're aware. Only thing that comes to a sleeper is a dream. And so I'm hoping that people, they don't like the term woke, but wake up, shake it up, ask the questions. Don't lay there like lunch meat, big old piece of bologna. That's not going to get you very far. So, Nicole, my final question to you is, how do you want to be remembered? What is your legacy?
I want to be remembered as someone who truly cared about humanity. I have done work for free in the past. I obviously have to pay my bills, but I want to help people understand their power as well. We are very, very powerful, and I truly feel that God resides in each and every one of us. So when you look in the mirror, God is looking back at you. Know how powerful you are, love yourself, and healing can be just as simple as taking off your shoes in the grass and feeling that beautiful feeling under your feet,
The grounding. That's what
grounding.
we want to do. So we want to ground with you. Tell my brains how to get in contact with you, your website, if you have any current offerings.
I got really big last year and I decided that I wanted everything to be in my name, Nicole Harvick, that I was really branding myself. And that's another reason I take this so seriously is if I screw up, it's all on me. So you can get a hold of me at NicoleHarvick.com, on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, Nicole Harvick, and anywhere. Anywhere, if you just Google Nicole Harvick, you'll see all kinds of ways to get a hold of me.
Brains, tap into the frequency. Okay? Get a charge. Get renewed. Get refreshed. Strip back the layers. See what's really inside. Have a good cry. And then
Yes,
afterwards, you're going to have a big chuckle. You're going to have a big laugh because you're going to go, was that me? But look at me now. It's good. Life is still very, very good. It's
it
positive.
is.
There's a lot of beauty in the world. There's a lot of kind people in the world, a lot of good food, dancing, fun, travel, all of these things. It's a choice, though. And that choice is yours. So choose and choose regularly on the edge with April Mahoney. Nicole, thank you so much for being here on the show. Brains, I need you to go in, like, love, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Raise those numbers, raise that vibration, get this message out, share this with people that understand where we're coming from, or maybe they're questioning, maybe they're wondering, because you got two seekers here, and we're willing to step out, you know, and do the hard work and bring you back the benefit, the reaping of our reward. Thank you so much, Nicole. You are the best.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, Brains. I love you so much. Have a good day.